Vital Hoops is for the culture.
Peace. Jumbo. Welcome to the VITAL HOOPS Podcast. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB. I am your host. This is episode number 57. Panaf Hip Hop. That's what we're talking about today. We're gonna get into the whole event, the entire thing. I have been speaking about it because we have been working hard on it. But yeah, so we're gonna speak about Panaf Hip Hop, and then I'm gonna get a little bit into, playoff basketball and my New York Knicks. So yeah, that's what we got going on. So Panaf Hip Hop, for those of you who don't know, this is an event that we, the Pan-African League UMOJA, put together, myself and some of my comrades. Panaf is short for Pan-African, and basically we put together an event that took place on May 11th in Paris, in Bobigny to be exact, Canal 93. So for this first edition, we named it Hip Hop, a Pan-Africanist and revolutionary culture. We were celebrating 50 years of hip hop as well. It was our way to, give back to our culture, to hip hop. We saw a lot of people celebrating hip hop, specifically last year, and now that the hype is over, nobody's talking about it anymore, but we live this shit. You know what I mean? But also, most people celebrating it were doing it from a commercial rap perspective, and we 100% got away from that. It was about uplifting and bigging up the culture. And we did this as we do all of our events, which is, 100% independent, with partnerships, local partnerships, with the help of the people, for the people, by the people. That's how we made it happen. We worked hard on this. We learned a lot, but we also learned that a lot of people who say they're a lot of people who call themselves hip hop, are not necessarily there. It's time to do something for the community, do something for the culture. They're not always there. But the event was great. It was amazing. First thing I want to do is shout out all my comrades, all my family that came through to support, and definitely all the people, all the hip hoppers and the people who just wanted to be there, that came through. All of them that came through, and also those who wanted to come through and were not able to. Shout out to you, much respect, and we will see you next year because this is something that we want to develop, continue to grow, and we want to do this on a yearly basis. So shout out to everybody who supported. So we started out with workshops. We had 4 workshops for young children, teenagers, and really for the whole family. It was for everybody. So we had beatboxing with my brother Blade Alimbai, who also performed in the concert later on. We had a breakdancing workshop with some amazing b-boys from the Federation of Afro-Caribbean Breaking. Shout out to them. We had a dope workshop with Brigand, who is a brother who was basically teaching the children how to basically paint their sneakers or personalize their sneakers. So, it was kind of like, graffiti art, personalizing your sneakers. And the children loved that one too. And then we had a Afrocentric games, that some of our comrades did with the youth, and some moms and some dads that were there playing with the kids. So that was really dope too. We had some nice Afrocentric games for learning, for the youth. So those were the workshops. After that, we had the exhibition that we put together, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see. We had a spoken word artist, a dope MC named Ether, who opened up the whole exhibition with some spoken word. Basically, he does freestyle. So the audience throws out a couple words, and he gets into it. You know what I'm saying? So that was really dope to have him there. And so yeah, then we spoke a little bit about the exhibition. It was basically all about hip hop, the culture from the beginning. We spoke about the political influences, basically, from the Panthers to Malcolm to, you know, the international struggle, what was going on in the Black Power struggle internationally, you know, and how that definitely influenced hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Because we're talking 60s, you know, early 70s. You know, we also spoke about the condition, you know, the conditions that the African diaspora was living in the Bronx in New York at that time. You know what I'm saying? It was a war zone, and we spoke about that. You know, then we had the early influences, you know, from the Last Poets to the beginning, you know, Kool Herc. We spoke about the Zulu Nation, understanding that we do not stand with Bambaataa and what he has been accused of, but we're not going to erase history. We're not going to rewrite history. We acknowledge that the Zulu Nation played a very positive role in the development of hip hop. And so we spoke about KRS, the Stop the Violence movement. You know, then we got into the elements of the culture, you know what I'm saying? All 10 elements, including the 10th element of hip hop, health and wellness, which I'm going to get into also after this. Shout out to Hiphopisgreen. As you can see on my shirt, if you're watching, the 10th element of hip hop. Yeah, we got into all the elements. Then we spoke about the hip hop Declaration of Peace, you know, all 18 principles. Then we got into, you know, we wanted to uplift our sisters because we know that, you know, misogyny is real, sexism is real in our society. So we wanted to big up the sisters. So we, you know, we spoke a lot about that. And then we took it to France, obviously, as we are in France, some of the pioneers of French hip hop. Then we took it to the motherland. We had to take it there, you know what I mean? And we took it to the Caribbean, everywhere. I specifically did a part on Cuba, on the influence specifically of Assata Shakur and Nahanda Abiodun, you know, rest in peace. Nahanda Abiodun, she was the godmother of Cuban hip hop. And so we spoke a little bit on that and how they influenced the hip hop, the culture in Cuba, and how the MCs were able to have a global, you know, a Pan-Africanist perspective, at least the early MCs, thanks to, you know, Nahanda Abiodun and Assata as well. So that was dope. We got into all of that during the exhibition. And so then we took it to another room where we had, you know, we had a little projection, basically a little documentary that some of our comrades put together also with little pieces from different documentaries. You know, it was all about, you know, highlighting some of what I said, you know, the early beginnings of hip hop and why hip hop is a culture of resistance, you know, and not this crazy shit that's promoted today. You know, that hip hop is basically not the industry, not the corporations, but, you know, highlighting the culture. So that's what we did there. And then after that, we had a little, you know, round table, little debate. We had a sister named Ambre Thieffry, shout out to her, who is a dancer, you know, a really dope dancer. And she spoke about the 1149 law, you know, and the activism she's doing around that in order to stop that law. Basically, the 1149 law here in France is a law that the government wants to pass that basically states that in order to teach breakdancing and other urban dances as well, you have to have a diploma from the state, right? And if you don't have that diploma, you can even get fined, right? So this means, obviously, we have, you know, B-boys and B-girls who teach the children, maybe who have been teaching for years, experienced B-boys and B-girls who've been doing this for 20, 30 years. So they want to pass this law that now they have to have a diploma from the state, you know? So basically people who know nothing of the culture, who are not of the culture, are going to validate these people, you know, to keep on teaching. So this is really crazy. So shout out to her and shout out to her collective for fighting against that. And, you know, I was also part of the debate, you know, the conversation. I introduced, you know, the 10th element of hip hop in France for the first time. Like I said, I'm gonna get back to the 10th element. But yeah, it was dope. It was a dope conversation. You know, we had a few questions, And like I said, once again, we got into the culture and not the corporations. So shout out to everybody who was a part of this. And hopefully we'll see everybody next year. But to close out, the day, May 11th, we had a concert. Of course, we couldn't, leave without a big, beautiful concert. So for the concert, I started off with a couple of my comrades who made a song for our organization and for this event named UMOJA. So we're able to perform that. That was dope. After that, I did my little set. I'm part of a group, 340 MS. Shout out to my cousin AB Cardenas. Shout out to the whole Guerrilla Republic, Cuba. I was by myself, unfortunately. But yeah, I performed. I did a little set, about 10, 15 minutes, to start off the night. It was dope. Great to feel the energy of the crowd. I hadn't been on stage since maybe before COVID. So it was dope to be back on stage. After me, my brother Blade MC Alimbai performed. Shout out to him. So yeah, he did a dope set, what he does with the loop station, beatboxing, singing, rapping, everything. He's dope, as always. After him, we had our brothers from the Federation of Afro-Caribbean Breaking, two dope B-boys who actually did the workshop for breaking. So they performed a little bit on stage. After that, we had a great artist named Tiermont. He killed it up there. Then we had my main man, Umar, who's also a member of the Pan-African League UMOJA and a dope MC. He killed it. And we finished up the concert with a tambour Ubuntu, African drums, three brothers who were playing, African drums, and it was really dope. They're great, so shout out to them. Big up tambour Ubuntu. And that was it. That was the concert. We had my man DJ Momo Manjak on the ones and twos. Shout out to him. And it was amazing. It was an amazing day. Like I said, I appreciate everybody who supported one way or another. Whether you donated, whether you were there, whether you shared the promo, whatever. We appreciate you. And hopefully we will see you all for the next Panaf Hip Hop in 2025. But that was it. If you have any questions about it, you'd like to know more, please drop your questions in the comments. Make sure you do follow us on IG at Panaf Hip Hop France. That is PANAF Hip Hop France. And yeah, last thing, shout out to my brother and comrade, lpufrance, a great MC from Togo, Pan-Africanist MC who was not able to make it, but he'll definitely be there for the second edition next year. So shout out lpufrance. Okay, so like I said, I want to get back to the 10th element of hip hop, health and wellness. So for those of you who don't know, in 2016, hiphopisgreen made it official, with some hip hop pioneers. They made it official in New York City with the proclamation and everything. Health and wellness became the 10th element of hip hop. If you don't know, the other 9 elements: MCing, DJing, breaking, graffiti, beatbox, knowledge, street clothing, street language, and street entrepreneurialism, And now we have the 10th element, health and wellness. Extremely important. Over the years, we have seen some of our, hip hop legends, dying of poor health, whether it's diabetes, whether it's heart attacks, one of the #1 causes of death around the globe, heart disease, and just poor health. We're seeing that in our communities as well, especially us African people, Afro descendants. And, there's also a second aspect to it, which is just as important, if not more, and that's the climate change. Climate change, and we can only be as healthy as our planet is. If we keep on breathing microplastic, microplastic is in the water, is in the earth, it's getting to our food, it's all over. So we have to fight that, and truly fighting climate change means fighting colonialism and capitalism as well, because we want to get to the root of the problem. But the 10th element, very important. So like I said, it was introduced in 2016 by hiphopisgreen in New York City. It was introduced to the world, really, but it was in New York City. I personally had the opportunity with my group 340 MS and Regla Soul to introduce it in Cuba, right, in 2019. Regla Soul is an independent organization that focuses on sustainable farming, mainly for Afro-Cubans. I had the pleasure of, working with them. Shout out to Regla Soul, of, working with them with 340 MS. And, we introduced the 10th element of hip hop, health and wellness in HABANA. It was amazing. We did that in 2019 before COVID. And now, 2024, with Panaf Hip Hop and the Panafrican League UMOJA, we introduced it in France. You know what I mean? 10th element of hip hop. So just a little bit, I want to get just a little bit into it for those who don't know. The 6 pillars, there are 6 pillars to the 10th element, beginning with plant-based eating, due to health and the environment, which, like I said before, one leads to the other. We know most people are eating way too much processed foods. A lot of these processed foods contain animal products. We're also eating too much animal fat, animal protein. All this causes clogged arteries. It causes heart problems. It causes cancer, all of that. We also understand that the meat industry is one of the worst industries when it comes to pollution, in the environment. That's that. The second pillar is organic gardening. The importance of growing food, understanding who feeds us, you know what I mean? As freedom fighters, if our enemies decide to close the supermarkets tomorrow, what do? How do we feed ourselves? It's extremely important. Also understanding that if food grows closer to you, the earth has the nutrients needed for you that you need in order to be healthy. So the importance of eating, food that grows close to you as well. The third pillar is fitness, the importance of moving, movement. Today, there's an entire industry behind fitness. Most of it is not even healthy, but we're talking about it from a holistic health point of view, right? So movement is extremely important. One of the most important things you can do, because in today's society, we tend to, not move. We're in the car, we're at the office. And when we get back to the house, we're on the couch. Not enough movement. And our bodies need to be movement. We're machines that are meant to be on the move constantly. So it's very important. And it impacts more than our physical. Movement impacts your spirit. And like I said, it is about holistic health. Fourth pillar is sobriety and mental health. You understand the importance of being mentally healthy, and also commercial rap and the corporations are constantly pushing a unhealthy lifestyle, a lifestyle full of drugs, a lifestyle full of junk food, sleepless nights. And, this affects us, mentally, physically, emotionally, so the fifth pillar is food and environmental justice. Healthy food should be a right, it shouldn't be a privilege. Healthy food, not just, packaged things, canned goods. No. Healthy food, nutritious food should be a right. The same with clean water, you know what I'm saying? And the last pillar of the 10th element is animal rights activism. Like I said, we understand how cruel and nasty the meat industry is. Factory farming murders millions of animals and sea creatures. The meat consumption is crazy and unnecessary. And we understand the effects that it has, like I said, in the oceans, but also in the rainforests and just our planet as a whole. The meat industry affects directly the humans, because the people that work in slaughterhouses are usually hurt mentally. It is very hard to recover from doing such, horrible things to animals. And a lot of them do it because they have no other choice. Many people who work in slaughterhouses do not have papers. They're so-called, quote unquote, illegal. And so they can't sue. That's why a lot of illegal workers are hired. They're underpaid and the work is horrible because they have to get through these animals. And it's nasty, it's horrible. And so, yeah, that's what it is. Those are the 6 pillars of the 10th element of hip hop. There is the proclamation as well, which I invite you to read. The link to hiphopisgreen, to their website, is down in the description. Definitely check that out. And yeah, like I said, if you have any more questions, definitely put them in the comments. We could talk about it. check out episode 20 of the VITAL HOOPS Podcast featuring Keith Tucker, the founder of Hip Hop is Green. We spoke in more detail about the 10th element of hip hop, how it began, how Hip Hop is Green was created, all of that. We spoke about it on episode 20. The link to that episode is in the description as well. And yeah, I'll have Keith Tucker back on the show soon, hopefully. Shout out to Hip Hop is Green and the 10th element of hip hop. Okay, so that's it for, Panaf Hip Hop, 10th element. I want to get into the NBA playoffs a little bit. It's been some really good NBA playoffs, in my opinion. I'm really enjoying the playoffs. If you know me, I'm a big time New York Knicks fan. Not a bandwagon fan, but a true Knicks fan, orange and blue. Ever since I was a little boy, I started playing basketball when I was 6. And, I started loving the Knicks right away. My brother used to live in New York back in the day. So, that's how it all started. Back in the day was Patrick Ewing, John Starks. After that, Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston and that squad, LJ. Then I went through, all the squads, Stephon Marbury, rough years, Melo. He had some rough years and, a few good years too. And now it's dope to see the Knicks back, playing very good playoff basketball, with Jalen Brunson. And it's unfortunate that, we have so many guys that are hurt, but still playing amazing. This Knicks team, man, really represents what New York Knicks basketball is about, grit and grind. They represent the heart of New York City, I feel like, and that's exciting to see. It's exciting to see basketball like that where dudes are playing hard, they're playing with a lot of heart. So it's dope to see. Last night was game 5. Jalen Brunson, another amazing performance. Another game over 40 points. Like I said, a lot of guys are hurt, but the guys that are there are stepping up. And it's great to see, I do believe they're going to beat this Indiana team, maybe in 6, maybe in 7. But I believe they're going to find it deep down inside to beat this team. And they're gonna go to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's dope. That's exciting. As a New York Knicks fan, of course, I believe they can beat Boston. Obviously, if they had Julius Randle, if they had OG Anunoby, if they had Mitchell Robinson, if they had the whole squad, Bogdanovich, it would be doable. You know what I'm saying? But, analyzing the game, getting away from my fandom, I think Boston has too much for them. And they're a little bit tired, they're hurt. But it's the playoffs. Anything can happen, meaning that you never know. Someone could get hurt on the other side. Someone could get suspended. Anything can happen and the momentum can switch quickly. So you never know. You never know. When the Knicks or Warriors, they don't give up. So anything is possible. But the Celtics are looking very good. It's actually like, at the beginning of the playoffs, I predicted Celtics and Nuggets in the championship. And I think that's what's going to happen. As a fan, I'd love to see Knicks and Mavs, Knicks and Mavs in the championship. That would be dope, but I think it will be Celtics and Nuggets. Man, shout out to Anthony Edwards, man. He's been balling, but right now the Nuggets experience is looking like it's a little bit too much for them. Nuggets are a great team, man. They're just good at every spot, every position. They're big, they're strong, they're confident. So they're tough. They're very tough. On the other side, OKC has been balling, but again, I think they're a little too young. They might be able to beat Dallas, but I don't think they will. I think, at Dallas, a little bit more experience. Kyrie is just, a killer. I love to see Kyrie balling like that in the playoffs. I love it. I love it. I love it. For everybody who was out there saying, yeah, Kyrie, he can't make it work. He's selfish, blah, blah, blah. All of that nonsense. There he is, one of the last OGs. Standing in the playoffs, it's the changing of the guard. LeBron is out, KD is out, Kawhi is out, Steph is out, so these new guys are stepping up and Kyrie's still alive. So, and yeah, on the other side in the East, like I said, I think, yeah, Boston is going to definitely beat Cleveland. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's been some good playoffs. Playoffs is always dope because obviously the NBA lets the players play a little bit more defense. It gets tough, it gets good and interesting. So yeah, it's been some good games. Like I said, shout out to the Knicks. Let's go orange and blue skies all day, baby, all day. Go Knicks. Okay, so I was on the Indigenous Nightmare podcast not too long ago, with the comrade Vlad. Check that out. It was very interesting. We spoke a little bit about, students supporting Palestine, reparation. We spoke about Cornel West being on his show on the Indigenous Nightmare, about all that. So definitely check that out. I'm gonna put the link down in the description for sure. Also, HABANA Negra, for those of you who speak Spanish, with the comrade Vlad also, and my man Javierito, EPGMB. Check out the episode we did with Roberto Zurbano. Link is down in the description as well. Roberto Zurbano, he's a great Afro-Cuban intellectual revolutionary. So check out that episode. Okay, that's about it. On the next episode, May 30th, South Africa and Palestine, the anti-colonial connection. Be ready for that. May 30th, Vital Hoops Podcast, featuring my comrade, Buna and Bai. I appreciate you supporting the Vital Hoops Podcast. Please share it on all your socials if you can, and subscribe to the channel. We're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. So, all right, before I go, I want to say, if you're a true basketball fan, you probably knew about Corey Williams, aka Homicide, who passed away, unfortunately. Rest in peace to him. My condolences to his family and his friends. He passed away, had cancer, was going through chemo. Once again, like I said, health and wellness. Health and wellness is the most important element of the culture, of our culture. We should all be focused on it. But, it's a shame to see him go, a young brother like that who was such a great ambassador to the game of basketball, a New York City street ball legend, RIP. And that's it for episode 57, VitalHoops.net. Like I said, please share, subscribe, leave a comment. Vital Hoops, for the people, by the people, for the culture. Uhuru.